affecting air quality in the national capital. The apex court also passed several directives to the states bordering Delhi NCR to stop stubble burning immediately, to take immediate steps to curtail air pollution. In fact, the court even called the odd-even scheme announced for the post-Diwali week in the national capital by the Delhi government a mere spectacle. Soon after, Delhi government's Environment Ministry went into a huddle. They've said they will consider the directives of the top court while finalizing the odd-even scheme later in this month. The BJP, however, has slammed the AAP governments in Punjab and in Delhi, calling them incompetent. BJP asked Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal to shift from quote fake advertisements to concrete actions to combat pollution. Now that another rap has come from the apex court itself, will the Aam Aadmi Party governments in Delhi and Punjab stop making excuses over farm fires? Will they finally stop passing the buck? After a season high of 3,200 plus farm fires on Sunday, even Monday reported over 2,000 cases from Punjab. It continues unabated while we are subjected to insufferable pollution and politics. Now that the Supreme Court has reminded them of their duty, will farm fires finally stop? We take that question to our guests in just a bit. But first up, here's a reminder. The Supreme Court wrapped both Delhi and Punjab governments over the farm fire situation and the politics over it. Because remember, that's adding insult to injury. Observation number one, that Delhi cannot be made to go through this year after year. We just cannot be subjected to this. That farm fires are a major contributor to the pollution. The Supreme Court has itself said that today. There's been an attempt in recent times to deflect the blame from farm fires, and that too farm fires in Punjab by the current Delhi government. We don't seem to be able to find solution year after year. The Supreme Court had to remark this just because of the sheer helplessness, because this has been 7 to 8 years now that we've been going through this situation in the national capital. They also reminded the governments that large number of children in the national capital are facing health issues because of this, and actually they could grow up to have a lot of these issues to be lifelong issues. They also told the Delhi government that Delhi used to blame Punjab earlier, but now due to political sink, you blame Haryana instead. This is particularly over the politics being played. The court also took governments and officials to task for the apathetic situation and gave some key directives. Mind you, such directives have come from courts in the past, so it remains to be seen how effective they're going to be this time around. Number one, of course, that Punjab predominantly, but UP, Haryana, Rajasthan must also stop all instances of crop burning. Courts have said this before. It hasn't been possible, a little bit due to genuine difficulties and a little bit due to negligence and disregard for others. Number two, they have actually set accountability, again something that has happened in the past. SHOs under supervision of the chief secretaries will ensure halt of farm fires. The DGPs have been made accountable as well. All kinds of waste must not be burnt openly. There needs to be greater regulation of this. That chief secretaries of states concerned must hold meeting with all stakeholders, and that this is absolutely necessary. The court has also gone on to say that state governments have been asked to control the entry of orange tagged vehicles. DPCC chair was pulled up for non-functioning smoke towers in the national capital, and it was asked by the court that there should be operations that should be ensured as soon as possible, because all of these are measures that came over the last few years to control this situation. Yes, they're all band-aids. The main issue is farm fires in this season, but even the band-aids are not working. Finally, the court also said, and this is a larger structural issue that we are facing, that paddy cultivation has to be phased out in Punjab predominantly with other crops. The court also asked the central government to look into giving MSPs for other crops to encourage their cultivation instead of paddy. With that, we come to the big question we're asking today. The Supreme Court has stepped in, possibly being the voice of the citizenry that feels helpless in this situation. But will farm fires finally stop?
This is the Kartavya Path, and in fact you can get an idea of the visibility that Rashtrapati Bhavan, which in general days is visible from this particular spot, is invisible today.
केजरीवाल जी से कहूँगा कि इस पर राजनीतिक नौटंकी जो करना है वो नहीं होनी चाहिए। आप वो राजनीतिक नौटंकी में बड़े माहिर हैं।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर आने के बाद एक बार हम उसको स्टडी करेंगे, या जो ऑर्डर में सुप्रीम कोर्ट का निर्देश आएगा उसको फिर इनकॉर्पोरेट करते हुए उसके अनुसार हम अपनी योजना को बनाएंगे।
Hello, Moto.
Let's go across to our guests joining us. Charu Pragya from the BJP, Reena Gupta from the Aam Aadmi Party joining us. We're also joined with Vivek Chattopadhyay, who's Senior Program Manager, Clean Air and Sustainable Mobility at CSC. Reena, let me begin with you. I hope this has come as a reminder that what is irking people more, including the courts today, as was clear, is not just the fact that farm fires continue. Yes, we accept farm fires even in Punjab have gone down year on year, but it's the attitude of the Aam Aadmi Party and the Delhi and Punjab governments who were for the last 1 week denying the impact of farm fires in Punjab over what is transpiring in Delhi.
Shivani, court has validated everything that we have been saying. Court has very clearly said that all the stakeholders, which means the governments of Punjab, Haryana, UP, Rajasthan, Delhi, and the central government must sit together and make a plan. This is exactly what we've been saying for months on end. The Environment Minister of Delhi wrote a letter to the Union Environment Minister in July saying that please call a meeting of all the ministers of these NCR states so that we can have a good plan in place for this winter season, and we don't reach the winter season without having a plan. Court has said exactly the same thing. The second thing we have been saying is that the farmers across North India need to be helped, and the central government needs to do that, which is exactly what the court said, that the central government should consider giving MSPs for other crops besides rice, so that farmers do not continue to grow rice and they move to other crops where stubble burning is not an issue. And as far as Punjab is concerned, Shivani, this year the farm fires have gone down by 50%. We have been in Punjab only 1 year. Give us 1 more year and it will come down to zero.
No, but that's what you're saying now. But Reena, I've been having this discussion with various Aam Aadmi Party spokespersons, and we've been listening to what your ministers have been saying. There's been an insistence that actually the situation is worse in Haryana and UP, which flies in the face of all facts on ground. In fact, one of the judges remarked today that he was traveling through Punjab and saw farm fires on both sides of the road. That's the lived reality for us. Common sense tells us that because of the farm fires in Punjab, this smoke comes and settles over the national capital. My only question to you was, yes, farm fires in Punjab have come down, but why were we being told that no, that is not why we are breathing this air? The court also accepted. The first thing it said was that farm fires in Punjab are responsible for this, and we don't care how you do it, you need to stop it.
Shivani, farm fires in Punjab and Haryana are responsible. Haryana is closer to Delhi. It is not just farm fires. You look at industrial pollution in Haryana.
Charu, I'll come to you.
You look at industrial pollution, vehicular pollution in Haryana and in UP. All of that comes to Delhi. And I don't need to say this, Shivani. There is a very good database called the SUFFER database, which is monitored by the central government. It's a central government database. Just go online and see for yourself.
It's also a Ludhiana-based agency that is giving out data of the number of farm fires taking place in Punjab on a day-to-day basis.
Can I complete, Shivani? Can I please complete? So the SUFFER database very clearly says that only 20% of Delhi's pollution originates from within Delhi.
We are not denying that.
Coming from NCR.
No, but Reena,
so
there are year-long factors. Reena, there are year-long factors, and then there is the apocalyptic situation in late October and early November. Right now, we get into this situation because of farm fires. This is exactly what I'm saying. There is no point denying that truth. Yes, there are other contributors. All year round work should happen on that. But let's not deny that farm fires in Punjab are going on by the thousands. 20,000 farm fires have happened since September 15 in the last less than 2 months.
Let us compare to what it was last
Yes, we've
year.
done that. I'll run those figures happily. It has come down, but there is seriously a
50%.
drastic situation because what happens in Delhi because of this, even if it was 20,000 fires instead of 30,000 fires last year, is that we are effectively breathing poison. But let Charu Pragya come in. Charu Pragya, all agencies must come together is also a theme that is a recurring theme. And there seems to be a relationship breakdown between the central and the state agencies.
Shivani, good evening. Let me begin by reminding everyone that Diwali is still 1 week away. So the insistence of the Aam Aadmi Party government that everything is Diwali's fault falls flat. Now, because Reena was giving some facts and figures, let me also continue giving some more. Nearly 70% of farm fires originate in the state of Punjab. 70%, that's a massive number.
Where is this data from? Where is this data from? Is this cooked up by Bharatiya Janata Party?
But you know what, Reena, I did not interrupt you even once, and Shivani, I'll appreciate
Yes,
it because
please.
this is a very serious
I'll
issue.
come to Reena for a counter in just a bit, but Reena, let her finish.
Yeah, I'm choking, Reena. I am choking, and I'm sorry. I have to blame Aam Aadmi Party Sarkar fair and square because round the year you do nothing. Towards the end of the year, you will pin the blame anywhere except where it lands, and that is on your shoulders. Up till last year, Punjab was the problem. Up till last year, you blamed Punjab every single time you were on a debate with me. But this year, you are pretending Punjab doesn't matter because Punjab is very far away. Now, I'll give you some geographical truths. The wind blowing in at this time of the year, at the time when Parali is being burnt in Punjab, is towards Delhi. You know that the amount of farm fires in Punjab is nearly 70%, and this is not my data, madam. This is satellite data. All you have to do is look at satellite data from any credible agency, and you will understand that 70% of the farm fires are in the state of Punjab, and they are rising. Maybe from last year, a few numbers have dropped, but this year, from the first week of October till the first week of November, it has been a 3-time increase.
Shivani, can I respond?
Yeah, one by one. One second, Reena ji, one second. No, there is no denying, Charu, there is no denying that farm fires are greater in number in Punjab. And which is why I continue to say that anybody trying to tell us otherwise is, really rubbing salt in our wounds at this stage, which the Aam Aadmi Party should not even have attempted to do for the last 1 week. But the point that she is making is that there is a collective responsibility of the other states concerned plus the central government.
But can I finish what I'm trying to say, Shivani? See, it saddens me that they do a complete, blatant U-turn on the issue of Punjab. Like, look at their statements. It's shameful the way they say it with a straight face. The other thing is that we have to remember vehicular traffic is a problem in causing pollution in the state of Delhi. That continues to be a problem. Now, Delhi has approximately 3,900 buses today, out of which 500 are at least 15 years old. What are you doing about that situation? If you're not going to improve the
Shivani,
situation,
you must allow me to respond.
One of our guests hasn't spoken. I'll come back to you. But Charu, please finish.
Situation. This odd even thing that you start every year, the number of cars on the roads in Delhi remain the same around the year. So don't make fun of us. Don't actually put salt on our wounds by putting a band-aid on a problem which requires a surgery.
Okay.
Do not do that.
Is the Aam Aadmi Party... One second, Reena ji, I'll come back to you. But one of our guests hasn't spoken.
Then you can go to the guest.
Okay, 30 seconds, please.
Let me respond. See, it's laughable actually when Charu makes these comments. Is the air any better in Noida? Is the air any better in Noida, Charu, where it's your government? Is the air any better in Gurgaon? Is the air any better in Ghaziabad, Meerut, Banaras, Lucknow, Muradabad? I can name all the most polluted cities. The most polluted cities of the world are in Haryana and UP. Where you can
but Delhi is the most polluted city right now and has been for the last few days.
Greater Noida is the most polluted.
Reena, you're missing the point, or you're... One second, please, one by one. One second, Charu, I'll come back to you. 1 second, please. No, I'm sorry, Reena. No, I'm sorry. This argument you're making, I've heard this argument before. Can I just please?
Can I complete? Then you can.
I'll come back to you. Reena ji, please. Charu, you'll get your opportunity. Let's not speak over each other.
30 seconds.
No, you had your 30 seconds. You're repeating the same arguments we've heard for the last 7 weeks.
I did not get my 30 seconds. Shivani, Air pollution is a
Please tell me
problem
if the
of
air
North
different
India,
standard
of
of
Indo-Gangetic plains. 70 crore people live here. Any other country, the central government would have a plan.
Okay, can
Why
I come
they
in
get
now?
year
You've had
after
your
year,
say.
there is no plan.
I'll come. Charu, 1 second, please. Reena, can I just say, you can talk about this, and no, we're not going to deny that it is not a collective responsibility. But I fail to understand that when it was about farm fires in Punjab, why did you dilly-dally on it? Why did you blame everybody else on it? Why did you deny the reality for 1 week? Till today, when the Supreme Court had to wrap you, I'm sorry to say, when it comes to farm fires, it is not a collective responsibility. It is the state government's responsibility.
It is a collective responsibility.
It is not a collective responsibility. These are your words, I'm reminding yourself. You have blamed previous Punjab governments.
Supreme Court has said that the central government should look at offering MSP for all the other crops. I have not said this.
They have said it.
That the central government should look at this.
Yeah, but when the central government tries to do something about agriculture, let me remind you, when they tried to do something about the agricultural sector with the farm laws, you were one of the parties that actually opposed it. You were one of the parties that did not want fines for farmers. You were one of the parties that did not want some corrections to take place. I'm sorry. We don't have that short a memory. But one of our guests has not spoken. Reena ji, please, 1 second. Vivek Chattopadhyay has not spoken. I want to come to you exactly on this issue. The Supreme Court has said it today. A lot of us living in Delhi have been feeling that there's been a lot of reactionary actions that take place. You look at the GRAP measures. Yes, there are measures that kick in only when a certain AQI level is reached. But that's reactionary. It doesn't really help the core causes. You look at odd even. The court is calling it a spectacle, which is basically useless. And it's going to come into effect a week after. There's still a week to go. So, how is it going to benefit anybody? It is fundamentally this that is bothering both the courts and the citizens, that everything is reactionary, even though this problem keeps happening regularly over the past 6 years.
Certainly, there has to be collective action as well as throughout the year action has to happen in order to see results during the winter. Nobody denies that. If we don't have public transport connectivity throughout NCR and Delhi, commuters are going to get affected. Odd and even is a strategy, like it is practiced in several countries and several cities. Wherever the smog conditions reaches to a certain very high level, because it reduces the traffic volume on the road. And but we have to see that if we give more and more exemptions, then the benefits will be less, because odd and even reduces the traffic, and the traffic movement increases in terms of speed, so the pollution level goes down on the streets. Certainly it helps, but there are several other measures. For example, like if you look at the data of yesterday, 26% of the contribution to PM 2.5 was from biomass burning. Next was 19% from transportation sector. Then 14% was from Jhajjar and Sonipat. And there are other sources also coming into Delhi's air. It depends on wind direction and wind speed. Suddenly, we have a calm condition, so it is trapping the pollution. So whatever action we have to take from for all the sources, industries, power plants, vehicles, it all has to be taken together.
And throughout the year. Nobody has to stop. Nobody has to wait for October to arrive. But in October and November, this situation, becomes worse because of the farm fire season, because of the crop change season. Why do you think?
Episodic issue.
Absolutely, this is an episodic issue. Until on November 3, I believe. On November 3, I believe this year, the contribution of farm fire or stubble fire was as high as 35% to Delhi's pollution.
Yeah, what I wanted to point it out.
Yes,
I want to point out that during the entire winter, if you look at the data, once the farm fire episode goes away, thereafter also pollution remains.
Yes.
Other sources contribute, and severe air conditions also appear.
Yes,
so
absolutely. So I'm not denying that. But my point is to look at why we have to face this situation every winter onset season. Earlier, we were fooled into believing. One second, sir. Yeah. Earlier, we were fooled into believing, and I didn't believe it even at that time, that this was happening purely because of Diwali crackers. Of course, Diwali, changes date according to the lunar calendar, and eventually, that fell flat. everybody came to know that this is not happening because of that Diwali crackers. We finally figured out it happens because of farm stubble burning. And even now we are refusing to realize that reality, that yes, other contributors are there all year round. But this season, this apocalyptic, episodic season is because of farm fires, and something needs to be done about that. Before I go back to our political guests, I want to ask you, why do you think state governments are failing to drive farmers away from this practice? It seems to be a very heady mix of politics on ground, of vote banks, of traditional, maybe some genuine issues that farmers are facing. Are these solutions that the AAP government talked about fertilizers, about chemicals, about machinery, about other things, are they just not sufficient enough to drive farmers away from this practice?
See, it's a major issue that has happened because of mechanization in Punjab and Haryana. They are rich states. The farmers are better off than the other states, I would say. And mechanization, what it is doing, it is harvesting the produce, but it is leaving out the stubble. So for the stubble, the shortcut method is like to clear the field in very short period of time by burning it. The solutions are other machines also. For other machines, you need to invest time and money and diesel fuel and make efforts to clean up the field. And many farmers are not doing. I think the rich farmers should come forward and do it.
Yeah.
Definitely, we need to support the poor farmers. And most important thing is Punjab and Haryana are water scarce states. Groundwater is depleting very fast. Paddy is not suitable for that region. Paddy is suitable for the states where there is ample water available. I think crop diversification should be the agenda. So
but Vivekji, we've been discussing crop diversification for, I don't know, for 10 years I've been discussing it.
Yeah, and we are not doing it.
We are not doing it because there seems to be, either a lack of will to do this, and also there seems to be this very, very, on ground, a stubbornness of sorts. The politics of MSP, the politics of procurement, the politics of vote bank, they are making a very heady mix right now that nobody wants to touch this in Punjab. Just look at what happened during the farm law agitation.
Yes, certainly. We have to think about the MSP laws. Why we are not supporting lentils? Why we are not supporting? There are several crops. And which are millets are government is promoting millets. Why can't several other crops which are useful, more nutritious, can be promoted?
No, my issue is not that. My issue is, will farmers on ground resist a move? If it was to be done to diversify crops. Yes, Reena ji, I'll come back to you. Just one second. Let me just give a final word to Vivek ji. Do you think there will be a resistance on ground? There will be politics played on any such reform done that affects states of Punjab, especially as we've seen in the past, if the governments were to move to push them towards crop diversification?
I think it is all driven by the MSP rules, and if government tweaks the rules and promotes other crops, I think there will be change, gradual change.
And what if they oppose that move? What if they oppose that move?
We have to work on it. And our Central Ministry of Agriculture and all the state agriculture ministry should set up a council on that.
Okay.
That how the crop diversification can happen in North India.
Okay.
There is no discussion by the agriculture minister, and we only talk about pollution control boards. It's the responsibility of all the departments. I think that should happen.
Okay. Can I take that to Charu? Charu, fundamentally, if this was about promoting diversification of crops with more MSP structure and support for other crops, that responsibility will fall on the central government. Why does the central government not move on this?
So, Shivani, see, nobody is running away from responsibility here. And when we talk of collective responsibility, I'm the first one to say that we have to work on this issue together. What we are talking about here are long-term solutions.
Yes.
So, asking the farmers to change their planting patterns, asking the farmers to, magically say that don't grow paddy right now and switch to some other crop is not going to be so easy. And we've seen the kind of situation that arose in the country when the government tried to make farm reforms. We saw the havoc that was created, even though I still believe the farm laws were for the betterment of farmers in this country. A better income for them, an open market for them would have meant that they were able to access things and spend more money on improving their
But this
situation.
can still be done. With the will of the central government, this can still be done.
Can I come in, please?
Reena
There's
ji,
no time left.
No, there is
There'll be
time
no
left.
time left.
Reena ji, there is time left. Rest assured. Let her finish in a minute and I'm coming to you.
I want to mention here, now Aam Aadmi Party government actually puts up posters to take credit for a AQI that is 50 points lower. They don't want to take the responsibility for a AQI which has risen 400 points higher. They are the party where the chief minister says, हमने एक magical chemical solution ढूंढा है, दिल्ली के सारे farmers को दे दिया है, तो दिल्ली में तो अब कोई पराली जलाता नहीं है. Where are all these magical solutions when it comes to the state of Punjab, madam? आपकी सरकार आ गई, so you turn a deaf ear on the problem there.
Okay, let her respond now. Let her respond now.
So Shivani, and Shivani, please don't interrupt me. Please let me complete. First of all, let us not demonize the farmers. No farmer wants to burn parali because their lungs and their family's lungs are the first ones that breathe that air. So none of them want to burn parali. That's point number one. Point number two, like the court said very clearly today, that the central government should consider giving an MSP for all the other crops. When you start giving an MSP for millets, farmers will switch to millets. Stop interrupting. No, I am not going to speak. I let you speak. Let me complete.
You can't be active of hearing on an issue as important as this.
Okay, let her finish. Charu, let her finish. Let her finish on the crop diversification issue.
Let me finish. So crop diversification will happen when there is a political will to diversify crops. When there is the kind of reforms that were being planned earlier were very bad reforms, the farmers were not consulted, and that is the reason why Shivani's government had to take it back. Today farmers are saying, when you are saying that millet mission is on paper, hardly anybody is growing millets because there is no MSP for millets. So if the government is really serious about millets, they should start giving an MSP for millets.
Okay, can I come in now?
And that is exactly what the court said today. Let me complete,
okay.
Shivani. Also, the point is, Shivani, that it is not just stubble burning. There is a lot of industrial pollution in Haryana. The moment Delhi became very strict about industry, and my friend from CSC can vouch about this fact that I'm stating, DPCC is very strict on industry because 100% industries in Delhi are run on PNG, clean natural gas. All of those industries have moved to UP and Haryana because there is no monitoring in UP and Haryana. The internet is full of these chimneys in Sonipat, in Ghaziabad, in Noida, in Greater Noida.
Okay, Reena, even if I was to take your point, now I have limited time, so please let me come in. Even if I was to take your point, you know, when we're talking about air pollution, it's obviously not going to be hard borders. So some states are going to be affected by what's happening across their borders too. And we are never denied that Delhi is impacted by what happens around it as well. It is not only a Delhi problem, but this was a problem that came up, particularly with relation to Aam Aadmi Party flipping on its statements from year to year, earlier blaming Punjab, today saying Punjab is not responsible for the Delhi situation. But on the crop diversification issue, Reena, I have 30 seconds only. Don't you think it is also the responsibility of the government in Punjab to counsel, as our CSC representative is saying, to bring farm bodies on board, tell them the merits of crop diversification, build a movement for it, and then of course there can be political climate as well.
I totally agree with you, Shivani, and that is what we've been doing for a year and a half. That is what has led to a 50% reduction in farm fires in Punjab this year. That, along with the farmer mitras, along with the improved machines, along with baling process for the stubble, we've done many things. Ethanol from stubble, all of those things we've done. And that is the reason why it's gone down by 50%.
Yes, and yet what the court reminded everyone today was very clear, that whatever you have to do it. We've seen videos of even government officials being harassed by farmers when they go to them, asking them not to burn stubble. Clearly, there has to be fear of the law, because burning so much stubble, causing so much smoke and pollution will not be allowed to anybody else, no matter what my circumstances. And therefore, there cannot be exceptions made when people's lives are being played with. The big question remains whether there will be implementation of this on ground. Can we stop farm fires or not? And the governments will be judged accordingly. I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Time for a very short break. On the other side, we've got our World Cup 2023 special. Angelo Mathews timed out in a first in international cricket. Did this go against the spirit of the game? That discussion is coming up in just a minute.
Hello, Moto.
And behind me is the iconic India Gate. This spot has become a prominent spot to check the visibility, and as of today we have a better visibility. You can see India Gate in the backdrop where you are able to see India Gate from 200 meters, but on the other side we have Rashtrapati Bhavan. In fact, this is the Kartavya path, and in fact you can get an idea of the visibility that Rashtrapati Bhavan, which in general days is visible from this particular spot, is invisible today. And in fact, when we talk about the conditions in the national capital, so we know that how the fourth level of graded response action plan has been invoked. Several sort of measures, several sort of steps have been taken by the state governments. In fact, schools have been shut and all other things. In fact, yesterday, Environment Minister of Delhi announced that how Delhi is going to implement odd and even scheme for the vehicles here. After that, a lot of deliberation is onto the fact that how there are several factors that are contributing to the pollution levels in the national capital. Once again, if I can show you the view, there you see people have come here for the morning walk, in fact for the cycling. But as of now, because of the pollution problem, in fact, experts say that this condition is very dangerous, very harmful for not only those who have some sort of respiratory disease or respiratory problem, but also for those who are healthy people. As of now, everyone is looking forward to all these steps taken by the government, because people here in the national capital are waiting for some sort of relief, that they are looking forward to government that they will take some sort of step, and after that Delhi will get some sort of relief from this particular pollution problem. I'm joined by a group here at India Gate who has come a long way from Pune to Delhi. आप लोग मुझे बताइए, साइकिल से आए हैं पुणे से दिल्ली तक, और दिल्ली में तो प्रदूषण है, तो किस तरह से अब आगे देख रहे हैं और क्या कुछ कहना चाहेंगे इस पूरे कहें कि जो कंडीशन बन गई राजधानी की? इधर तो हवामान बहुत खराब है. हमारे उधर महाराष्ट्र में पोल्यूशन नहीं इतना बहुत ज़्यादा है महाराष्ट्र, लेकिन अभी तो महाराष्ट्र में भी एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स बढ़ने लग गया है. हमारे उधर अच्छा है, इससे बेटर है. इससे बेटर. क्या आपको लगता है कौन जिम्मेदार है इस समस्या के लिए, इस परेशानी के लिए कौन जिम्मेदार है? सरकारों की जिम्मेदारी है या फिर ये लोग जिम्मेदार है? नहीं सर जी. हाँ, कौन जिम्मेदार? इसके लिए किसी एक को जिम्मेदार नहीं ठहरा सकते. इंडस्ट्री तो है ही, लेकिन हम आम लोग भी इसमें जिम्मेदार है. जैसे कि हम गाड़ियाँ ले रहे, गाड़ियाँ भगा रहे रोड के ऊपर, थोड़ा भी अगर चलना होगा तो हम गाड़ी लेके चलते हैं. इससे अच्छा है हम थोड़ा सा साइकिल का भी उपयोग करें. जैसे कि हम लोग अभी पिछले 4 साल से कर रहे हैं. कोरोना में जब फर्स्ट लॉकडाउन हुआ था उस टाइम पे हमने साइकिल चालू की थी, लेकिन कोरोना में जितने भी बीमारियां हो गई उसमें हम में से कोई 10-12 लोग हैं, इसमें से कोई भी इतना बीमार नहीं हुआ उसके बाद. और तब से हमने जो साइकिल चालू की, अभी 4 साल से पिछले साइकिल चला रही है.
पिछले साल हम बालाजी की राइड किए और इस साल 1,500 किलोमीटर चला के.
नहीं, साइकिल आप चला रहे हैं सेहत के लिए, लेकिन उसी सेहत के लिए बहुत बड़ा खतरा है ये पोल्यूशन. आप जो एक्सपर्ट हैं वो तमाम लोग सलाह देते हैं कि बाहर ना निकलें. आप साइकिल तो बेशक सेहत के लिए चला रहे हैं, लेकिन जितना सेहत के बचाव के लिए काम कर रहे हैं उतना ही सेहत खराब हो रही है बाहर.
नहीं, वो तो है, लेकिन साइकिल चलाना हमारा रोज का ही मकसद है.
अच्छा, आप लोग अलग अलग.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching our special presentation on the 2023 ODI World Cup. I'm Shivani Gupta. And Sri Lankan player Angelo Mathews yesterday became the first international cricketer ever to be timed out. Now this episode has divided the cricket world right down to the middle. This unprecedented event occurred during the match between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka in Delhi when Sadeera Samarawickrama was dismissed and Mathews walked out. Now, Mathews was on the crease. He actually made it to his crease, but there was a delay because of an issue with his helmet strap. By the time Mathews was ready, the Bangladesh skipper Shakib Al Hasan had already appealed for his dismissal, and Angelo Mathews was indeed declared out without facing a single delivery. According to an ICC rule, the incoming batter must be ready to face the ball within 2 minutes of a dismissal. Now, Bangladesh captain Shakib Al Hasan was well aware of this rule and took utmost advantage of it against Angelo Mathews. Mathews blasted his Sri Lankan opponent Shakib for his call, which many are now calling bad in taste and against the spirit of the game. So here's what he said in the post-match conference. He said, "I don't know where common sense went. Never have I seen a team going down to this level in my 15-year career. It's equipment malfunction," he pointed out, and it was a big safety issue as well. The umpires could have gone upstairs and checked the incident again. He added that Shakib had the option of recalling me, of taking back that appeal and that dismissal, but he decided to go the other way. While Angelo is clearly and agreeably upset, Bangladesh skipper Shakib Al Hasan defended his decision. He revealed later that it was actually one of his players that suggested to appeal for wicket, and when he did, the umpire actually asked him if he was serious. The umpire asked him if he wants to take back the decision, to which Shakib Al Hasan said no. If it's in the rule, then it's out and he will not take it back. He added that, "I don't know if I was right or wrong. I felt like I was at war." He defended his decision, saying that he had to make sure that his team wins, and ultimately this decision was born out of that. And he concluded that there will be debates, but if it's in the rules, I don't mind taking those chances. Let's take this to our expert panel. Murli Karthik, former India cricketer; Graham Swan, former English cricketer; Ayaz Memon, senior sports journalist, all joining us as part of our World Cup panel. Karthik, let me begin with you. If there was ever to be a defense of what Shakib Al Hasan did, I think he made it himself. He made the argument of why he's allowed to do so and why he's right to do so in his comments.
Firstly, Shivani, if the umpires have given it out, which means that it is in the rules. If it wasn't in the rules, the umpires would have said you're wrong and you can't do it. So obviously he is well within the rules to do what he did. But to invoke the spirit of cricket, I think it's just an interesting one, because I always have found that the spirit of cricket is a mysterious and a phantom book which I've never read. I've read the MCC laws, I've seen the Wisden Cricket Almanac, I've seen Tintin, I've seen Asterix, but I've never seen the spirit of cricket book, which just gets invoked as and when convenience comes out. I think it's just a convenient bunker to use. Is he within the rules? Absolutely, he's within the rules. Was there any advantage by what Angelo did? Maybe not, because we always tend to bring this for... Why were all the rules brought out in the first place? The rules were brought out so that people, there is no unfair advantage which is taken. There is nobody who's cheating. There is a modicum of decency in the way the game is played. All these things are done, where people might start comparing this to the run out at the non-strikers end, but that's a very different thing. That is because somebody is trying to take undue advantage. Undue advantage, and that is cheating. But over here, I understand what Angelo did. There was possibly a bit of a brain fade moment, because he walked in there and he tugged at his at the helmet strap and it came off. All he could have done was just gone either to the umpire or to the captain and just said, "This is what's happened," rather than charging or marching towards the umpire, towards the pavilion and asking for his helmet. So, is it within the rules of the game? Absolutely.
But is it within the spirit of the game? That is, of course, indeed the question. But you are saying you don't know what the spirit of the game is.
I don't know what the spirit of the game is. Unfortunately, I've never understood the spirit of the game, because it seems to be invoked or brought about only when it's convenient. For me, was he gaining any unfair advantage or doing anything wrong? No, absolutely no. Possibly sometimes we don't even think about this, because people come, there are so many times where there is so much wastage of time and nobody talks about it. It is just that at this point of time, yes, somebody had the presence of mind to ask or appeal for it. They did the right thing. Could they have won it? They could have still lost it. But for me, was Angelo gaining any unfair advantage? No. So possibly hindsight will tell them maybe they couldn't have, they needn't have done it. because it was not something where Angelo was cheating or gaining any unfair advantage.
But that's precisely the point, Karthik, where, the question arises if this was fair. Or Swani, are you in agreement with Murli Karthik that, this may be called a gentleman's game, but there is also gamesmanship and not just the spirit of the game. And what Shakib Al Hasan employed was gamesmanship.
I agree with Murli Karthik on some bits of what he said, and on others I disagree. Yes, the spirit of cricket is this phantom thing that goes on. We should have a spirit of cricket. People should play fairly. That should never have happened yesterday, in my view. It is in the rules. The rules are there to be absolutely torn up sometimes. Running out, someone backing up, if they're aimlessly wandering out, isn't cheating, in my view. They should get rid of that rule. It should be a dead ball if someone's out of their crease. If someone walks to the crease and he says, I was there, they should go back and I was there with 5 seconds to spare. He wasn't ready to face a delivery. It was against a spinner. He's not in danger, so just take his helmet off. Or say to the captain, mate, my helmet's just blown up. I'm going to have to change it. Is that okay? If the captain says no, then you take the helmet off and face the first ball. So it could have been avoided. So I'm not going to go down the Angelo Mathews that they got it wrong. The laws of the game said he was out, so therefore he was out. I think for Shakib Al Hasan to say, I felt like I was at war. Yes, you want to win. There are far more different ways you could put it than we're at war. You're not at war. Wars are going on where people are being killed at the moment in the world. So I'm not happy with that being brought up. But basically, if you want to win at all costs, you can. I always bring this back to when Australia played New Zealand in the 70s or the 80s, in the 70s, sorry. And there was a law in the game that said if the bowler tells the umpire first, he's allowed to roll the ball along the floor. And they did that. That prevented New Zealand winning the game. And there was uproar, diplomatic incidents, and the rules got changed because that law had been there since the start of the game. And it was obviously for a time that was outdated. This timed out rule, if it, again, where I agree completely with Murli Karthik, if someone's trying to gain an advantage by it, someone's trying to be smart, disrupt play, then yes, I believe it's fine. On this occasion, the common sense has to come out. Like Angelo Mathews says, common sense. You say to the captain, look, I'm not getting an advantage. The helmet's gone. Don't claim it's a safety issue because the spinner's bowling, so I'm not having that. But just say, look, can I change it? And that's where a gentleman would say, of course you can, no problem. Because if the ball's on the other foot, Shakib would be going mad if he was giving out time.
Yeah, so and cricket is known as a gentleman's game for a reason. But is that, is the modern age cricketer just not willing to accept that?
No, it is supposed to be a gentleman's game, but we've all played it, and it's not that gentlemanly in the middle. It is a tough contest.
Yeah.
But if we're always gonna say this, it's in the rules. It's in the rules. I mean, I'm not having that. The rules are crazy. Like you look at the American gun laws; they're allowed to have guns. It causes way more problems than it's told, so they should get rid of it. We all know that in the world, but they always say, "I'm allowed to do it. I'm allowed to do it." So I just think, on this occasion, common sense should have come in. The umpires, by the way, I think did a great job on this occasion by saying, are you going to uphold this? Do you really want to do this?
Yes.
They knew that the furore that would be caused by it. So on this occasion, I don't often praise umpires. I thought the umpires got this spot on by saying, look, if you want to uphold this appeal, yes, he's out by the laws, but do you really want to do it? They're suggesting, hinting to Shakib, that
maybe this is not where
the whole cricket world knows you shouldn't be doing this.
Exactly. Maybe not the road you want to take. And in fact, Graham, you were part of the England-India match where Ian Bell was given out after he walked out of his crease, and it was not a dead ball. And initially he was given out, but after an appeal from the English side, MS Dhoni took that decision back.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It wasn't an appeal for what I remember. We were watching that, like completely confused, baffled by what was going on. And MS Dhoni came up to our dressing room and said, no, there's no appeal. We realised that was just a massive, big blunder, misunderstanding. We don't want to go down that road. By the laws of the game, MS Dhoni could have said, no, we absolutely uphold that.
Yes.
And he's out. It would have caused so much bad blood for the rest of the series that it wouldn't have been worth it. MS Dhoni saw the big picture on that occasion. That is why he is known as a brilliant, great leader. Even though India lost that test match, and it could have been a big part of them losing that game, he wasn't really willing to risk that big picture, and he saw what was better for cricket moving forward than just an instantaneous, no, we stand for this. I played in one game, England against New Zealand, where we upheld an appeal against for a run out where Ryan Sidebottom, our bowler, collided with the batsman. And in retrospect, it's the worst thing I've ever been involved in, that we upheld that appeal. We should have seen the bigger picture and gone, absolutely not. We take that back. We shouldn't have appealed for that. And it's one of the regrets of my career that I wasn't even a senior player at the time. But I felt in the middle where if my captain says it, I'll go along with him. I'll back him to any extent. And that's where the issue comes in. The captain has ultimate responsibility on the field to lead by example, to lead how his nation, how his people want to play the game. I believe on this occasion, Shakib got it wrong, but I can understand why he did it.
You know, I asked maybe Shakib could have warned Angelo Mathews. A lot of people have pointed this out, that maybe in the right spirit of the game, you could have told Mathews that, okay, you're taking too much time, you are running the risk of being timed out.
I mean, look Shivani, let me put it very bluntly. I think this is, you know, it's perversion. It's a perverse interpretation of the law, which Shakib has indulged in. And then complicit with him were the umpires. Maybe they had no choice.
Maybe the umpires had no choice here, Ayaz.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The umpire maybe had no choice because he refused to take back the appeal, and that's where it's got stuck. But, you know, look, I think what Graham mentioned is about the New Zealand-Australia match where Greg Chappell asked his brother to bowl a, you know, an underarm delivery, a grubber along the ground so that the last man couldn't hit a six. Now, obviously, the laws didn't not permit it at that point in time. Subsequently, it was changed because there was a lacuna. Now, if there is a lacuna, the interpretation should be by the umpires on the field. And now you don't only have two umpires on the field. You have a third umpire, you have a fourth umpire, you have a match referee, and you have everybody else watching it. It's not, you know, rocket science to just get an interpretation done immediately. 2 minutes, by all evidence, it seems to me that Angelo Mathews walked out. He was there ready in 2 minutes. Some people have timed it. I think the broadcasters have
No, actually, Angelo Mathews has also put out a clip where he's timed himself. His argument is that he actually took the strike. And it was only after taking the strike when he walked away. And therefore, technically, he shouldn't be timed out. Graham, I'll come back to you. Yes, Ayaz.
Yeah, so I think this maybe is, and you know, look at the way he has explained his thing. He says, one of my players told me that this is a possibility, you can appeal. So I appealed. Then the umpire asked me, shall I withdraw? Can I withdraw the appeal? And I said, no, if it's in the rules, let it be. I mean, it just seems to me somebody who was, it was all, you know, his decision was deliberate and he stuck by it. Now, in the post-match press conference, he says, oh, but the ICC should change the rule, then I will abide by it. So, which is fine. You know, I mean, that's the law and that's the way you live. But I think that it just takes away so much from a contest because there is no advantage that was being sought. I can understand if there's some advantage, some tangible gain, even if it's by a millimeter, as it happens when a batsman is backing up too far. There is an advantage being taken. Here, there was certainly no discernible advantage being taken by Angelo Mathews. So the appeal was, you know, in a sense, as I mentioned earlier, to me, yes, this law exists. There is a lacuna. Let's exploit it.
Yeah. You used very strong words, the perversion of the law, and maybe not in the fairness and the spirit that we keep talking about. Yes, it is intangible sometimes, but yes, you know, the issues like these or episodes like these evoke this debate because I think as human beings, we do understand what is in the spirit and not in the spirit. I'll go back to Murli Karthik in just a bit on that and whether there should indeed be a change or a rethink on this rule. But Graham, you wanted to come in on the technicality that Angelo Mathews has pointed out, that actually he did take the crease within 2 minutes. He walked away only after that. And in cricket, we see batsmen take their strike and then take a couple of more wickets as well, and nobody would have batted an eyelid.
Hey, that's baloney, and we all know it. You have to be out ready to face the ball, having taken your strike, ready, and the bowler can let go of the ball. That never happened. So Angelo Mathews, that's one area where Sri Lanka need to drop that. Stop arguing the technicalities. Yeah, he was not ready to bat after 2 minutes. That's it. At the end, there is no, that's black and white. That's very clear for me. But his helmet had broken. That's, no matter what the clock says, no matter what he thinks, he wasn't ready to face the ball. So the umpires were left with no choice. And that's why they said, yes, by the left rule, you are out. So they need to drop that immediately because he never took guard. He never faced up. He was never ready to face the ball. Being at the crease and being ready to face the ball are two very different things. We all know that. So that's nonsense. That's where, when the helmet broke, that's where you turn to the opposition captain. Like if you want to change a pair of batting gloves when you're in the middle. There's no rule that says you're allowed or not allowed to do it. But a batsman will always say to the skipper, the field skipper, I need to change my gloves. And not ask his permission, the captain will nod. If you do it without doing that, you cause uproar on the field. It's seen as disrespectful. So all he needs to do is look to Shakib, say, look, my helmet's broken. Then Shakib cannot possibly appeal because the umpires say, no, there are mitigating circumstances, etc. So saying I was ready to face is an absolute no-go for me.
So, Karthik, the question is this then. We keep seeing this repeatedly from time to time in cricket and the rules do get revised. But do you think it is time to kind of relook at this as well? That if there are circumstances where, for example, someone's equipment has failed at the last second, then that batsman can be allowed a little bit extra time. Interestingly, Sourav Ganguly was 6 minutes late in a test match in 2007 when the batsman preceding him were for some reason or the other not able to come out, and then he had to come out after two India wickets fell, but the opposing captain did not invoke this law, which he would have been well within his right to do. So is it time to re-look at this rule?
Look, it's the interpretation, as Ayaz rightly said. There were reasons why this rule came into play in the first place, because there were times where in Day's game, you could slow down things by not coming out. There were times where the batter would still be on the ground and the guy who's supposed to replace him doesn't even come out. So just to slow things down, just to stall the game, I think these rules were brought out so that nobody takes advantage of it. And right now, it's an interpretation. And again, I mentioned this and Swanee added to it. If the same person, and Swanee is absolutely right, he was there. If you're taking guard, you take guard. And then if you tug at it, and it can happen to anybody, all he needed to do was turn to one of the umpires, either the square leg umpire. And these are things which are done on the ground. Whether you go tap the wicket when you're batting, you have a look at somebody, a cursory glance at either the umpire or the bowler or a fielder close by that I'm going to tap. Or you do small things when you ask for gloves or when you ask for water, you ask the opposition captain or the umpire. These are small etiquettes of the game which have always been done. Over here, all he had to do was, as Swanee rightly said, either ask Shakib or the umpires, so this is what's happened, can I? And the umpires can then say, you're facing a left-arm spinner, nothing's going to happen, do it at the end of the over. Or they might say, just face one ball and then do it. Certain batters might argue that, listen, this is just disturbing my concentration, so I need to change it. That can also happen. But the rule is there for a reason. I understand why the ICC from 3 minutes, they've made it to 2 minutes. There are so many areas of the game which can be speeded up. We are going through games which are for no rhyme or reason, dragging on for long periods of time, and some silly things which happen around us. Unfortunately, nothing has been done about it. Do we need to change the rule? Maybe not change the rule, but as Ayaz rightly said, the interpretation of every rule needs to be done. Again, just quickly, there are two spinners here. The no ball rule was always when the foot over, when you overstep. And then what happened was that the seamers, because they run in hard and they hit the crease, and then it slides with the momentum, they changed the rule to when at the point of contact. But now what happens is, a legal delivery is only when you release the ball. And so many spinners actually hover over the crease and their hand is behind. And when they actually release the ball, their foot is inside the crease. So that is the actual release. But that is an interpretation which they're unwilling to change. How many times have you seen a Ravindra Jadeja being no-balled when actually it's a legal delivery? Because at the time of landing, he's maybe out, but at the time of release, which is when it constitutes a legal delivery, he's inside. So there are certain things which need to be interpreted properly. Again, if you just go by the rules and go by the black or white, and then you're always going to dot the I's and cross the T's and come to such decisions. I just feel it needs to be the interpretation. And over here, people can cry over whatever, but the thing is that something like this, it had no advantage for any of the Sri Lankan team. It could have been looked at very differently.
Yeah. So bottom line, I have just a minute to go. So 10 seconds each to everyone. Karthik, why don't you start? At the end of the day, right or wrong?
I would say wrong in this case.
In this case, purely because Angelo Mathews wasn't deriving any undue advantage
he was not getting any
out of this delay.
Yeah.
Graham, do you think this decision will haunt Shakib Al Hasan? It will play on his mind, given that there is a moral dilemma here.
I don't know whether it will or not, but the very fact that we're having a special bulletin and the whole world is talking about it rather than the result of the game shows you that there's something wrong with it.
Something wrong with it. I asked, do you concur? Not something to follow by others, because Mankading was very, very controversial, and we used to have a certain opinion about it. Now it is seemed fair that if the non-striker is trying to gain undue advantage, the bowler is well within his right to mankad it. Now no one bats an eyelid, but there was a time it was looked down upon and not within the spirit of the game. Could we eventually go on to change our mind about something like this as well, or no?
No, but in Mankading, the law hasn't changed. The law was always in favor of the
guy. The law was always there. The law was always there.
It was the moral kind of shadow over it, which was the problem. It wasn't the law. Over here, the law seems to be the problem now. Because there is an advantage to be gained. Because now what you'll have is the stopwatch showing you how many 2 minutes passing, 2.5 minutes, and like you have for DRS, the number of seconds ticking away you might have for a batsman taking strike and all that. And I think more than anything else, Shivani, very quickly, Shakib Al Hasan, he is 36 years old. He's been playing cricket for almost 2 decades at the international level. For him to indulge in something like this, to me, I find that most unsavory, and the explanations that he has given. Much like Greg Chappell and his brother in the underarm case. There was no excuse for the captain of Australia, one of the greatest players of his era and perhaps of all time, stooping to that level. And this is something which also is true of Shakib.
All right. I think our experts have spoken, something to ponder upon. I do thank Murli Karthik, Graham Swan and Ayaz Memon for their time. Thanks a lot for tuning in for our special on the Cricket World Cup and the controversies it's garnered. Thanks a lot.
साइकिल चलाते हैं ना, तो साइकिल के वजह से हमको प्रदूषण का ज्यादा प्रभाव हम पर नहीं पड़ता है।
अच्छा।
क्योंकि हमारा ताकत बढ़ गया है साइकिल चलाने में।
बेशक साइकिल चलाना अच्छी बात है, लेकिन मेरा दरअसल सवाल ये है कि साइकिल तो आप अपने कहीं की सेहत के ध्यान में रखते हुए चला रहे हैं, लेकिन उसी सेहत पे कहें कि कितना बड़ा खतरा है ये प्रदूषण, उसके बारे में बताइए, उसके विषय में बताइए।
अभी ये हुआ ही कि इसमें से ये जो प्रदूषण हो रहा है ना, इसमें से जो छोटे बच्चे उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा इसका इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है। जैसे कि आप देखें कि अभी दिल्ली में, हम महाराष्ट्र से दिल्ली आ गए, महाराष्ट्र में कम था। हम मानते हैं कि मुंबई पुणे में ज़्यादा हो सकता है, लेकिन जो हम एरिया में रहते हैं, विलेजेस में रहते हैं, वहाँ पे प्रदूषण कम है। और यहाँ पे आने के बाद हमें पता चला कि दिल्ली में इतना प्रदूषण होता है। फर्स्ट
राजनीति भी हो रही है, जो बीजेपी और आम आदमी पार्टी सरकार हैं वो एक दूसरे पर आरोप प्रत्यारोप कर रही हैं और एक दूसरे को जिम्मेदार ठहरा रही हैं। आपको क्या लगता है, क्या ये सही है? राजनीति होनी चाहिए प्रदूषण की, कम से कम ऐसी समस्या जिससे कहें कि अब पॉलिटिशियंस भी प्रभावित हैं, उन लोगों के परिवार और वो लोग भी प्रभावित हो रहे हैं। आपको लगता है कि राजनीति ठीक है?
नहीं, राजनीति इस मैटर में ठीक नहीं है, क्योंकि हम सब लोगों को एक साथ जुड़ के इससे सामना करना चाहिए। अगर हम एक दूसरे को कोसते रहेंगे और एक दूसरे के ऊपर ये जिम्मेदारियां डालते रहेंगे तो ये कभी ठीक नहीं होगा। अगर ये सरकार बोल रही है, अगर बीजेपी वाले आम आदमी को बोल रहे हैं और आम आदमी वाले बीजेपी को बोल रहे हैं ना, तो ये सोल्यूशन कभी नहीं निकलेगा। हम हर एक को एक साथ खड़े रह के हमें ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना।
With pollution levels lingering in the severe category, Delhi is struggling for fresh air. I'm standing at Kartavya Path and behind me is the iconic India Gate. This spot has become a prominent spot to check the visibility, and as of today we have a better visibility. You can see India Gate in the backdrop, where you are able to see India Gate from 200 meters, but on the other side we have Rashtrapati Bhavan. In fact, this is the Kartavya Path, and in fact you can get an idea of the visibility that Rashtrapati Bhavan, which in general days is visible from this particular spot, is invisible today. And in fact, when we talk about the conditions in the national capital, so we know that how the 4th level of graded response action plan has been invoked. Several sort of measures, several sort of steps have been taken by the state governments. In fact, schools have been shut and all other things. In fact, yesterday Environment Minister of Delhi announced that how Delhi is going to implement odd and even scheme for the vehicles here. After that, a lot of deliberation is onto the fact that how there are several factors that are contributing to the pollution levels in the national capital. Once again, if I can show you the view, there you see people have come here for the morning walk, in fact for the cycling, but as of now, because of the pollution problem, in fact, experts say that this condition is very dangerous, very harmful for not only those who have some sort of respiratory disease or respiratory problem, but also for those who are healthy people. As of now, everyone is looking forward to all these steps taken by the government, because people here in the national capital are waiting for some sort of relief.
Viewers, the war between Israel and Hamas began exactly 1 month ago. 10,000 lives have been lost. Palestinians are bearing the brunt with scores of innocent children feared dead. Videos of their mangled bodies pulled out from under the rubble of pulverized buildings makes the heart cry out. Who, after all, can bear to see children paying the price of a totally uncalled for provocation from Hamas? Viewers, Israel has a right to self-defense, there's no doubt about it, especially after it suffered grievously on October 2nd. Not only were its innocent citizens hunted down like